Okay. Okay. Welcome again to our weekly, our Marketplace Influencer Weekly. Our guest today is someone I've known to the years, to the years na, and I haven't seen because of this pandemic. But there's a purpose also, and he's a former brand executive of a multinational company, a fuel firm, basically. At the same time, he's now the head of the Big Singles Ministry, which is a ministry that he'll explain more. Pang i-simplify ko na lang, it's an avenue. It's really an avenue, not necessarily gathering na alam natin, but it's an avenue now where people can just come together. So without further, let's welcome Mr. Ickoy De Leon.
I'm blessed to see my brother Tommy. This guy is an encouragement to me because his burden and his passion for the marketplace and to reach out to the people is such an encouragement. So Tom, thanks for having me, and I'm really blessed to be here and looking forward in our discussion today.
So yung first question ko lang is, how would you describe, kasi biglang naisip ko na lang yung tanong na to because we encountered recently a big company and most of their employees are millennials. Ang problema, they have a hard time coping with the situation. That was considering that's just a few months ago. Imagine mo balik lockdown na naman. And even though it has been more than a year, they're working from home, they're having hard time making sense of the situation. Hirap na hirap sila. Para sa'yo, para ma-appreciate din, especially to the parents or probably to business owners, kasi I'm getting messages and even sa Viber community namin is very toxic with dealing with millennial employees right now because of, hindi ko na sabihin kasi I don't want to sound controversial, but it's very toxic. So how would you describe millennials or even with the Gen Z coming into the picture, which is slowly papasok na rin kasi konti pa lang sila pero dadami din yan eh. How would you describe in today's marketplace, workplace, this kind of millennials and even Gen Z? How would you describe?
Yeah. Well, first I have seen that the numbers do not lie. No, meaning the millennials are actually the biggest chunk of the workforce nowadays in corporate, in offices, in different industries, and whether we like it or not, they are a force to reckon with because of their sheer size and number that are now in the and I'm a firm believer that these demographic, this age group, is an amazing tool or an amazing component in how to drive business in corporate nowadays. There are a lot of stuff, Tom, na napag-usapan about millennial, and I think much have been said about this segment. But for me, I still believe that we're trying to understand them more kasi they're also evolving.
Yes.
When I say evolving, ngayon kasi, di ba, Tom, we've been locked down for a year and a half already, right? And a lot of the millennials who started in perhaps being for a couple of years already did not have any idea or inkling on the atmosphere of the work from home setup ngayon. And so pati sila nag-a-adapt, no? Pati sila nag-a-adapt sa sitwasyon, and lahat nag-a-adapt. And so what I sense in how to really be able to help and support the millennials in the workplace is really maraming pwedeng sabihin, pero let me just focus on one concept, Tom, para mas focus yung sharing ko, no. I want to focus on one aspect of how we can really support millennials. This idea for mentorship. Ngayon kasi na-realize ko that this segment is really hungry for mentoring. Unlike you and me, we grew up in an environment in the workplace na papasa sa yung trabaho, bahala ka, gawin mo yan. Find out for yourself and learn as you go. Right? Yun yung pinaglakihan ng industry prior to this segment now eh. But one thing I realized, Tom, no, na yung segment ito ngayon, they are not into that. They are more into mentoring. They are more into finding and hearing it from the bosses, paano ba gawin, and really guide them. At the same time, they also collaborative work, meaning hindi siya silo mentality. So I think this idea of mentoring the millennials or the 20 to 30s are really one of the salient points that I have learned when it comes to dealing and supporting and managing this segment right now.
So after you mentioned about yung work from home, so totoong parang talagang tama sinabi mo, you were able to bring to drive a point. It's evolving again. Literally, talagang evolving. Kasi napansin ko nga when we were observing some of these millennials in the work marketplace, iba na talaga. So they're having a hard time to adjust, and so talagang it's still evolving. So talagang hindi mo talaga matumbukan kung paano ba. But I guess the mentoring part.
Yeah. Tsaka some of the people, Tom, that spoke to me about how difficult it is. Kasi when they were in school or when they were preparing for work, hindi naman ito yung pinirepare nila eh. So yung dynamics ng work from home, totally different. Kasi wala silang idea nung work from the office. Kasi wala pa silang experience eh. Or kukunti pa lang experience sila doon. And then all of a sudden, hindi pa sila nakakapag-settle mo itong transition, dalawa magkasunod. Transitioning to starting out in the office, and then all of a sudden, wala na sa office, bahay na. And then for some, balik sa office, and then iba, balik sa bahay. So I think this back and forth setup have really made it a little bit difficult for some of these people, and that's why sobrang importante mentoring them right now. Kasi for example, I'll give you another example. Hindi sila sanay na walang kausap eh. Hindi sila sanay na mag-isa sa bahay and then you're gonna work alone. Kasi nga, they're more into mentoring and mentorship eh, di ba? Gusto nila, nakikita nila yung mga katrabaho nila. Gusto nila, narinig nila yung boss nila, paano yung dapat gawin. And so that's gonna be that very difficult. So that's one thing for me is sobrang critical is how will we or how will they or how can we help them adapt in this new environment.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, for expounding on it. Kasi naisip ko but maybe in my case, kasi introvert ako, kaya kong hindi magsalita ng more than a day. More than a day. Parang naka-adjust na ako. Sige, naka-adjust na ako ng yung after a few months. Okay, kaya kong hindi magsalita ng more than a day. So, but ingat, tama sinabi mo. Kasi inisip ko, stressful na nga yung work. Tapos na-connect pa sa bahay. So, stressful ang bahay. So, wala pang mapuntahan. Wala kang pupuntahan. So, yun. Now that you mentioned about mentoring, because yung naisip ko na avenue, kasi right now, yung work at bahay, iisa na lang. Iisa na lang ang work at bahay. So, di mo naman hiwalay talaga. So,
yes.
When you talk about mentoring, the first thing that comes to my mind is big ministry, big singles ministry. Can you share more about big singles ministry?
Hey, Tom, I'm glad you opened that up. Big Ministry is a community of 20 to 30-year-old men and women who are working, who are in business, who are starting out their career. It's a young vibrant group of working professionals whose desire is to understand God's design when it comes to work. Kasi alam mo, Tom, tayo, naiintindihan natin to that ang isang normal adult will spend close to about 70% of his life in pinuha. So napakalaking component itong career work sa buhay ng isang tao. And so kung hindi mo maintindihan or kung hindi ka mag-guide, hindi ka ma-mentoran on how do we really find purpose and meaning in the perpetually busy lives of singles, wala ka eh. Tapos hindi lang yun, katulad na sinabi mo. Ngayon, ang medyo magulo ang setup. Kasi sa bahay, hindi yung delineation ng work, personal life, and family life, ang gulo na eh. Kasi may mga iba nagkatrabaho almost 20 hours a day. Kasi may access sa kanila yung boss nila at nasa computer sila buong araw. And so I think that plus the new work setup, plus the pressure, kasi Tom, aside from nawala na yung delineation of work-life balance and life, sasama lahat, yung add-on Tom pressure ba ng trabaho? Kasi ngayon, yung mga ibang industry, hirap eh. Because they have to cope with the impact, the economic impact of the pandemic. Eh so pag lahat yung pinagsama-sama mo, meron talagang need to be properly guide and mentor these young adults. And that's where big ministry comes in. Because we come up on a daily meeting every Friday night at 7:30, and we talk about topics, biblical topics that are very relevant in the pursuit of purpose and meaning sa buhay ng isang single young professional in this kind of crazy world that we live in right now.
Okay. Actually, I'll tag that so on the caption. So, but just in case you'll be interested about big ministry, yan, going back, kasi saan ka ba pupunta talaga right now, especially from work nasa home to home. So, wala talaga pupuntahan talaga from work from home to home. Yun lang talaga pupuntahan mo. And and going back, mentoring is crucial and an avenue, actually an avenue. Nakita ko nga na though it may sound negatively, naisip ko si Rehoboam. Hindi kasi siya nakinig sa elders, hindi siya nakinig sa elders. That's why it was a bad advice by his friends. But the idea of big ministry is getting the right advice from within your age group naman. So, siguro may isang question na ako kasi you're a brand executive. Parang nakita ko na yung work mo parang nag-radiate sa big yung brand ng big. And the reason why I want to ask that kasi with now that many young professionals are losing their jobs, possibly losing their jobs or probably struggling. Kasi naisip ko yung branding crucial din eh. Kasi you're selling yourself eh, especially what if natanggal sa trabaho, mga ganon. Kasi naisip ko, I'm trying to understand branding din eh. Kasi talagang mahirap eh. Kasi I studied one course na branding differentiates in different culture. Pag sa West ka, it's about individualism. Kapag sa mga Asians daw, it's about collectivism. Pang katulad ng Coke is the way of service family, Jollibee is about family, tapos si Pepsi it's about young generation, tapos si McDonald's it's young generation or professionals based on that collectivism. Kahit ako, isip ko, I like Marvel. Parang I easily connect, yeah, I wore this kasi I like Marvel. I like Marvel. Joke lang. It connects, ganon. How would you advise, especially people right now, mga millennials? Kasi job security is really hindi mo na talaga control yan eh. How would you advise them right now? What can they do about during this season? whether they are still with jobs or lesser days, lesser pay, or what would you advise?
Yeah, you know, Tom, there are two types of, for me, two major types of people right now in the workplace. Yung isa, yung displaced, meaning nagsara or nagsara yung or na-retrench, yung na-displaced sa tao, tsaka yung developing person, meaning nasa trabaho ka ngayon pero kailangan mo ma-develop. Ang approach ko na magbibigay sa dalawang grupo na yon na nakikinig sa atin ngayon, either you are displaced or you're sa trabaho, is that you constantly will have to adapt. This word adaptation. What is adaptation? Adaptation is when you constantly improve yourself to suit the specific need of the company right now. Nagka-gravitate kasi talaga lahat ngayon dahil online lahat, no? Nagka-gravitate into that mode or that industry and how we do things. So digitalization, online programming, online stuff, computer, internet, all of that. Yung idea na adaptation na sinasabi ko is unless you are savvy in doing things online, then so what is the set necessary? Doon tayo pupunta in the short term, midterm. Yun ang darating eh. But we need to develop that. So yung doon sa displace, I would constantly look into opportunities where in that industry, because that's the boom industry now. And then second is, kung meron ka pa trabaho ngayon, kailangan mo i-develop yung skill sets mo para makadagdag so that you will have a stronger value to the company and to the industry. So yung dalawang yun ang maano ko. And ang ganda ng sinabi mo, branding, no? Pag na-brand ka kasi ngayon, na old school or na hindi ka techy or hindi ka online savvy, pag na-brand ka doon, may iwanan ka eh. So you have to constantly be able to cope up and adapt to the changing times.
Thank you for that timely advice. So adapt, build on your skill sets, adapt. Well, big is about mentoring. I guess we all need, kasi naisip ko kanina may nagme-message na ano gagawin ko sa buhay ko pang gusto ko na matapos ganun. I guess there's an avenue for it. So just in case you're interested, I'll tag this. It's every Friday, 7:30 p.m. So if you're interested, so there are relevant topics for our generation, for the young generation, and same time, para may kausap na rin. It's really a difficult time, especially kung tusin naman, it's just physical distancing na naman. The social can be, masosolve pa rin naman yan ng online, ng Zoom, ng meeting apps. So they're still social, it's just physical. So it's a matter of understanding our situation also. So thank you, Pastor Ickoy De Leon, for taking your time. Hope this helps. Going back, let me repeat, Big Ministry, every Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Kung tatanong nyo kung may bayad pa, libre yan. Kasi libre yan, napalilibre yan. Kasi laging tanong, may bayad ba yan? Ganun, libre po yan. So thank you everyone, God bless.
God bless. Thanks, Tom, for having me.